Okay, so now let's look at the watercolors. So these are all by Jackson's, and they were sets of 3. So these are kind of like neutral yellows. These are neutral, I don't know, browns, I suppose you'd say. So we have let me coordinate them. So we've got a yellow ochre and raw sienna and burnt umber. And over here we have burnt sienna, warm, what's this one? Warm sepia and neutral tint. I think I'm just going to squeeze them out straight onto the paper, like so. These are 21mm, they're great value for the money. There's a little bit of separation here, and I learned my lesson many times that if you see the separation already happening, before you start doing anything like squeezing the color, just take a little toothpick and try to incorporate it back into the paint, so that way you're not losing anything that's supposed to be in there. The Gamma Arabic or whatever binder is used, you know, can separate, especially like now. It's been 28 degrees today, super hot, and it's been a very hot week, so I'm not surprised that paints can do that. In the tube they're obviously nice and juicy, they're not dried up like they would be in a half pan, so things like that can happen. So I'm not going to use too much because obviously I'm just doing these swatches here. Raw sienna. Raw sienna seems to be fine. So as I mentioned this in the unboxing video, I bought these 6 colors with skin tones in mind. So I was interested in kind of using them for the skin. Oh gosh, I should have done them all spread out. Been chatting to you without thinking. So this one is warm sepia. I'll see if I can move these colors or not. Anyway, too late now. So the warm sepia has also separated. I'll use the other end of the stick and just do that. These are very juicy. I wonder if there's any honey in them. And then finally we have neutral tint. Oop. Okay, so let's see how we get on. So first one, yellow ochre. That is beautiful yellow ochre. I'm quite particular about my yellow ochres, by the way. This is a good one. It's got enough transparency, it's not chalky feeling, it's got a good pigment in there in the sense of there's enough colour in there. It's not like, you know, a weak colour. It's got a good pigment deposit, so to speak. And then let's have a look. So this was raw sienna, burnt umber. This is a bit too much pigment I have here for the size of the swatch, so I'll try to lift some so we can see the color a bit better. Then we have burnt siennas, and this is now going into the second set of trio. Oh, this is good. I love me burnt sienna, as you know if you watch this channel for a while, or as you would know. So yeah, this is a good one. And then we have, let's just mix it up, and there's clearly way too much pigment here, so I'm going to lift it. So this is warm sepia. Now warm sepia, or sepia in general, is a very useful color to create deeper tones of any of your other colors in your palette. And I've learned this from recreating Van Gogh's color palette. I'll try to link these videos, or the series that I did actually, up there, so that you can see what I'm talking about. And then neutral tint. Oh, this is quite beautiful. I'm going to make a larger swatch out of this because it just looks pitch black. Oh, this is beautiful. It's kind of like a more intense Payne's grey. I'm trying to lift some of the color because it's just too dark here, otherwise you're not going to see the beauty of it, or the range of it rather. So I'm just lifting some. So these are quite nice. So let me just try them and write down all the names, and we'll come back and look at them again. Okay, so I thought we'll use the time quite well today and actually compare a couple of the colors that I may have from something already there. By the way, this is such a beautiful beige. As far as, you know, Caucasian skin tones go, yes, it's really nice color, but also just in general as a color, without kind of getting skin involved in there, it's just a stunning beige. Slightly peachy beige. It's very, very beautiful. So fun fact, I just realized something. So let's just put these to a side to dry naturally. As I was trying to match, I'm going to do a little comparison here in this little sketchbook, which I started the second one. This is the Jacksons. I'll try to link it down below. All the links should be down below in the description if you're interested. Okay, so I just realized that I already had the Carmine Lake because I tried to color match it to my other pencils, and I just found one that I already had. So yeah, I think what happened was I was looking after or wanting to get this color, and I put it on a list, and I forgot to take it off the list when I did get it. So I've got a double now, which is fine. But let's just compare Carmine Lake. So this is the Carmine Lake. I was actually looking for a color a bit more red rather than this color here. So here is the Carmine Lake. And then we'll compare a couple other colors that we have in other pencils. So we, well, let's compare it to the Crimson Aubergine, because that's going to be a rather, but I wanted something in between the two. So if you do know of a pencil like that, or if you own one, do let me know. I'd love to add it to my collection. Something in between the two. So this one to be more intense and deeper, but this one to have more red in there. And then we also have Chestnut. So this is Derwent Light Fast. So Chestnut is more brown, I'd say, but very comparable to the Crimson Lake by Luminance. And then finally, this is one I really love for the lip. It's the Burgundy by Holbein. So this is a very, very close color to what I wanted to get in between those two, but I just wanted a slightly different, tiny bit of a different tone, which of course you can mix yourself, but I do like convenience colors, just so I don't need to mix anything. All right, and then the other two I wanted to compare, actually three here. Let's see how we get on. I'm not going to compare the watercolors because that will take forever. I have so many. and there is just no need in that. So let's just see. I'll compare the Portrait Pink by Daler-Rowney System 3 with another lovely peachy color that I have. So you can see the water is actually quite dirty in here. I might go and change it. There. Okay, I'm back with the clean water. So the color I wanted to compare to is the FW Flash Tint, which has been renamed since to not offend any other skin tones, because, you know, this is more of a Caucasian skin tone than a skin tone, or flesh, whatever it's called, Flash Tint. So a lot of brands have been doing that with their other art supplies. Like I've seen this done to markers, and I've seen it to pencils as well. But it's a beautiful peach, and it's been called, I'll try to put it down here, what it is now renamed to. It's the same, I believe it's the same color, because when I tried to Google that one, the Flash Tint, the color, the new one comes up. So it's more yellow basically, you can see. And this is peachier. There's also a couple of other varieties, I believe, by System 3, so I might have a look later. Then let's compare this yellow, which is a brilliant yellow. I love this type of really golden yellow. It's a beautiful yellow. And I think I would also, while we're here, pull out this color, the Acrylic Ink in Yellow Orange Azo. It's similar, but it's a bit more orangey, and it's more liquid, like it's more transparent. It doesn't have the pigment opacity, but it is a pigment-based ink, also acrylic ink. So this is PY83, and this one was PY83 and PY3, but it is quite different, so you'll see. There you go. It's more of a Hansa yellow, this one, and this one is more of a cadmium yellow type of a colour. Although you might look and think, gosh, they look very similar. Not to me, they don't. And then the one that I had already is the yellow ochre. So, I mean, let's make sure they're all closed. In the bottles, you can see there's a difference there. And hopefully you can see it in the swatch as well. So, there you go. It's more muted, but it's beautiful. I love it. Love, love, love it. And then, what other colors can I show you? So, Raw Sienna. Yeah, Raw Sienna. Let's swatch that out as a yellow. So here it kind of separated a lot. So you'll see that's quite different. So Raw Sienna, you can see that's very, very different. Really interesting color. It almost kind of, it has a complexity to it. So, now then, I'm thinking of showing you a couple of the oranges as well. So let me just put these back. So these are the new colors. So the oranges I would compare to is like burnt sienna probably, and I mean, is there a need to compare burnt sienna? You probably see that it's very different. So no, let's compare the hot pink to magenta, the process magenta. That would be a better comparison there. So let's start with the process magenta. I'll just do small swatches next to each other. So that's Process Magenta. It's actually a really bright color as it is, like on its own. But next to this, it suddenly looks a lot more duller, although it's not. It's just the this one is super crazy pink. It's a fun color, this one for sure, and it's not very light fast, as you can imagine. It'd be fun to just like dip this color into like other colors and see what it creates, because it's so intense. So I need to play around with it, of course. These are just the first swatches that I'm doing for you. Let me quickly label them and then we'll come back and see the other swatches dried up as well. Okay, meanwhile these have been drying and hopefully you can see how beautiful they are. This is gorgeous the way it's dried, both of them. They have a nice texture. Hopefully the camera can pick up on that. Yeah, it will struggle with the fluorescent pink. So we've got Carmine Lake, Cobalt Green and Dark Indigo. And then we have the Rowney System 3 and FW for the rest of them. So this is Portrait Pink, beautiful beige color. It's just very like it's a very pretty beige. It's got a very light touch of peach to it. Very flattering color. And then Brilliant Yellow, and then we have Fluorescent Pink and Flame Orange. And then over here we have the Jackson's Watercolors, Yellow Ochre, Rose Sienna, Burnt Umber, Burnt Sienna, Warm Sepia. It seems to be granulating a little bit, this one, which is quite nice. And then Neutral Tint, which seems to be at this end, reminds me of Payne's Grey, but it's a lot darker as it's mass tone. So that's that. And then let's have a quick look at the comparison swatches. They're still a bit wet, so here we have the Carmine Lake compared to Crimson Aubergine next to it, both by Luminance. Then we have Derwent Lightfast Chestnut and Holbein Burgundy. And over here we are comparing Process Magenta to Fluorescent Pink, and Rowney System 3 Portrait Pink to Rowney FW Flash Tint, which has been since renamed. And then the yellows over here, Rowney FW Brilliant Yellow, which was from this haul. And then next to it, Liquitex Acrylic Ink in Yellow Orange Azo. They're very similar once they have dried, but I find that you can create more diverse kind of textural effects with the Rowney FWs, and this one almost behaves like a dye-based color or like a product, because it sort of likes to fill everything almost in the same way, but you can achieve these sort of light to darker tones and blossoms much better, in my opinion and through my experience, with the Rowney FWs rather than the Liquitex acrylic inks. And then finally we have Yellow Orange, also by FW, and Rose Sienna, also FW. Let's just bring these up closer. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. See you soon.